Hello everybody, this is the Fluffy Fox for the Creative Fox and long time no see. Yeah, well, I want to show you how I had some fun with billboards today, because since custom billboards were in the game, I had some great fun with them, and at the same time I built a forest-themed dodgems, and how I did this you can see now in this video. But before we get to that, I would really appreciate you giving this video a like, and if you like my content, perhaps consider subscribing, because I'm still very low on subscribers at the moment, and I would be happy to provide some more content for you if there is interest. I also added a few more billboards, but these will get in here later. I was really enjoying the new billboard functions, and I was using AI to make some custom backgrounds and all of that stuff, but then my chronic illness hit and I had to pause for a bit. That's why there were no videos for a long time before. Now I hope I can start again with some more videos. The first billboard I introduced was a price list for the entrance. And to have people actually look at the price list, I used vending machines to sync them behind the price list, to have people standing in front of them and looking like they're looking at the price list and wondering how much money they need and if they want to get in or something. And then I noticed that one of the most stupid bugs I had in the game was finally gone. The vending machine bug was not there anymore. So I didn't have constantly guests walking up to the vending machine, standing there, and then walking back into the queue and walking back to the vending machine in an endless loop while they were getting desperate. So I'm really glad that this bug is handled. As of the recording of this video, there have been updates to the game, and I think this game is really coming a long way to be better than before. It is still funny how Frontier is handling the whole situation, because many of the things that are buggy are handled in a way that they go the extra mile. For example, the multi-select tool is much better than even the multi-select tool in Planet Zoo, but you still can't just press shift and multi-select stuff. I need to look into the hotkey options, if it's possible to just set the shift key as the I key to actually have the functionality again that is in Planet Zoo, where you can just hold shift and then select multiple things. But yeah, I gotta look into that. I'm building a big plaza here because I wanted to have a big plaza around the new dodgems I built there, because I wanted to have dodgems that are themed to deer fighting. So male deers, when there is the time to do some yummy holdrio, they are fighting against each other for dominance, and I wanted to have dodgems themed to these deer, because the dodgems just ramming into each other might be thematically fitting. So I thought it would be thematically fitting and fitting to the ride. And I had an idea, because I wanted to work with billboard backdrops, a billboard ceiling, a billboard walls, and a billboard floor to actually theme this dodgems in detail. So what I will do is actually create some more or less seamless forest textures with the AI. I have a subscription with Midjourney, so I created some of these foresty textures that are not really seamless, but it's not that bad, so you don't notice the seams. And then I used my graphics program. I used the GIMP, which is open source and as such a really great alternative to Photoshop or anything, to actually place some of AI created stags like deer and does on the forest, and then have the surroundings being deer in the forest around the dodgems, so the guests could actually feel like they are the deer who are fighting for dominance. I painted the dodgems in appropriate woody or cream and brown colors, and then started doing some support work between the different billboards. And I looked for the entrance where most people walk in, because I didn't want to have too many people walking through the billboards, so I placed them at the back side and at the sides, but not at the front side. And using billboards is actually kind of complicated, because the colors and brightness is really weird. So I used lit billboards here, which was a little bit easier than to correct the brightness of the picture, because even when correcting the brightness of the picture, the colors aren't really accurate, and it sometimes looks really weird. If I use lit backgrounds, lit billboards, they actually work quite well without making the colors look weird. But yes, the updates for the billboards are actually very welcome, especially the ability to resize the billboards and as such use them as tiles for floors, ceilings or walls is extremely good. I mean, you could create complete new wall sets in this way. Just get a texture you want and then create wall sets or floor sets. If only the curbs were gone, then you could just create buildings with custom floors with the billboards and have a completely new way of customizing everything. This creates so much perfect customizability that I simply love this edition. In the end, I will not only show you the themed dodgems, but also some of the ride signs I made. And these kinds of creative use for billboards is something I had in mind since the game actually launched. And when the game launched without custom billboards, I was quite disappointed, and now I'm really happy with it. I didn't have that many opportunities to play with the other updates right now, because as I already told you, my chronic illness just came back with a vengeance. Sometimes it's better for days, sometimes it's better for weeks, and at the moment it got worse again, so I really had problems concentrating on playing with my chronic dizziness that hit hard at this moment. So I hope to get into playing the game some more again soon, and yeah, it is what it is. I can't do much against it, so I tried my best. When building this, I didn't already have the cool kettle pen techniques that Taggy 3D introduced now, and in the future I'm planning to use them, but at the moment I was still using the more fiddly method of getting edged cues instead of the round cues. And I'm really looking forward to try out the new techniques that Taggy actually described in his videos. And I think this guy is such a genius, doing all the cool tricks with the invisible paths. And this is something I really wonder about, because if I think about this, Taggy is actually able to hack the game in some way to create paths that have no curbs. I mean, it's a really elaborate method. You just make your whole park a natural path and then build your paths on the natural path and boom, no curbs. But then you have to surround every path with no entry barriers to have the people actually stay on the paths. But as we see, the graphical capability of the game is actually there. So I think Frontier should really look at these things and then think, okay, how did the guys do that, and how can we build that in a more user-friendly way so people can use curbless paths. We had a talk about this the other day on Bro Nation, and someone, I don't know who it was, told me that the curbs are actually because the edges of the paths would otherwise be transparent and we would have gaps in the textures, but as Taggy, I think he calls himself Taggy, as Taggy said, it is possible in this game now, so I don't get how it wouldn't possible to build that in. And there are still these small annoying things, like not being able to recolor the platforms of the flumes, or make the railings there just go away and build your own. Or the weird duplication bug actually isn't fixed either. It was funny, we had another talk on Bro Nation the other day where I told them, yeah, okay, the duplication function is still buggy, and they said, okay, I got used to using advanced move or advanced duplicate for everything, so I did not even remember that it is bugged because I used advanced rotate, advanced move, advanced duplicate for everything. But yeah, this is still bugged, and I would just hope that the duplication will be fixed soon, because it's still annoying to use advanced duplication for all things I want to place. The duplication does work for many of the items, but for some, if I duplicate and then set the height, they still vanish into the ground somewhere, and that is pretty much completely unusable. Here I'm just doing some foliage and planting, and I thought about what to do with this plaza, and I said, okay, for these kinds of parks, monetization is pretty much everything. So there will be some souvenir stands, some food stands, and some picnic tables where people can sit down while the kids are having fun on the dodgems, and where they can sip a coffee or grab a drink. And I decided for these buildings to not have a big backstage section, because the bigger backstage section is still near here, so the buildings won't get an elaborate backstage area, because the bins and all of that can be emptied quite near here at the bigger staff area, parking space, and pickup area for parcels and trash and all of that. So in the end, this will be a nice meeting place, a nice picnic area where the kids have something to do with the dodgems, and where the adults that are looking after their kids can have a drink or have something to eat and get their kids something to eat, like a big box of fries or a burger or anything. So I created the first ride sign here, which is called Hirschkampf, which just means deer fight. And I started building a kind of frame around that it actually is believably standing there. And I really enjoyed doing some ride signs for the rest of the park anyway. I did tell you in the first episode that I planned to do ride signs for the rest of the park as soon as the custom billboards were in the game, and I even create billboards just as posters that are on the different fences or on the walls of the different buildings. And when I go to the presentation of the new park elements, you will see them all. That's why you will see many elements of the park that I already built and that are now created with billboards, with custom signage, with custom posters and all of that. I really hope that the path Planet Coaster 2 goes from here, continues like it did. I really think that the game is now on a really good path on a track to becoming what it should have been at the beginning, even though I am really doubtful about some of the new things, because for example, restaurants go further than they were in Planet Zoo. Why? Because the guests won't get teleported to their places anymore. That's awesome. That's a really awesome technology. They go to their places, they will sit down, they have their trays with food on there. That's cool. The restaurants themselves, the restaurant counters, will be 4x4, so you don't have to build a giant building around them anymore, and you can actually include them into your themed buildings much better than before. And then it will break the functionality that Planet Zoo had to actually create multi-floor restaurants. The cool thing about the whole teleportation issue was that you could create restaurants with many floors, 2 or 3 floors, and then the guests, when they got their food, they would get teleported to the tables. You could link tables on the second floor, and you didn't need to create the means of them to go upstairs. In my restaurant build here, as we didn't have restaurants and we still don't, I created stairs to get up myself, and I really hope that the restaurants, if they are introduced to the game, would make these rather ugly stairs superfluous. It didn't. So one of the best functionalities of the restaurants is taken away. But the functionality on one hand is much better, but on the other hand much worse. And this is the puzzling thing to me. Some things work perfectly, but then they create a thing that is better, but destroy functionality for another thing. And this is the 1 step forward, 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward, 1 step back thing that is typical for Planet Coaster 2 at the moment. I can't really explain why this is the case. It's really just puzzling. The devs at Frontier do such a great job creating new systems, and they do such a great job updating the game. There have been so many bug fixes. There have been even bug fixes that weren't documented, like the guest AI on vending machines, and still there are some functionalities that are missing, or some really small fixes that should be really fast to actually implement, but they don't. And I'm very, very puzzled. Yes, it will be really, really awesome to have security guards back in the game and security cameras and all of that. That's cool. There are cool old rides that came back. The stock coasters are really, really good. I could finally theme my Zero Force 1 coaster to the theme I wanted to have it. It's now log themed, and I am really happy for many things that work. Yes, the staff is tweaked again, but still it doesn't really work. As I already commented, the whole mechanics scheduling is still not thought through in any way, and I still don't get how they could have missed that, because just thinking about it just shows how much nonsense it is. But yeah, the game is on the way to be a really great thing, but Frontier really needs to be less about, yes, this awesome new feature is coming, and more about, yes, this now works. Yes, this didn't work and now works. And I hope this is the case, and I'm looking forward to playing this game some more. Going back to my build here, I'm really happy how it turned out. I created a texture for a leafy ground, and as I described before, this is just one of the possible things that you can do. I then created a ceiling which was made to be a leaf canopy, but I tried to stick to the realism that the leaf canopy ceiling is actually over the electric mesh that the bumper cars or dodgems use to be powered and as such be able to drive. And after that there will be some more decorating. I cut much of the decorating and much of the more repetitive tasks out of the video, so you don't have to watch it, but I'm really happy how it turned out. The Hirschkampf thing was, in my opinion, a great idea to have themed dodgems, which I have not seen on the internet so far, so I'm trying to at least innovate a little bit. So I hope I could give you a little bit of value for your time and not what you've already seen many times on the internet. And with that we come to the overview of the newest developments in the park. The first thing was the Rutschmühle, which is kind of a windmill slide, and then it's the Otterrutsche, which is an otter slide. The giant wave slide was called Beaverdam, which is a beaver dam, and for all of that I had images created with AI. I thought a beaver sliding down would be actually quite cool. The Eichhörnchenbahn actually got a jumping squirrel because it's called Squirrel Ride. And then you come to the new area where is thick foliage, and behind the foliage there are the themed dodgems. Here you see the queue and the right sign which says Hirschkampf, so deer fight, and then you can see the dodgems driving around there. And as we're nearing the end of this video, I want to play my usual game, which means if you're still here and still watching, please type in the comments #more videos, because like that you can show me that you actually want more videos from me. And with the impressions of the new area and the area around all the food stalls and all of that, I will leave you for this video with what I always say: stay creative people, stay fluffy, and bye bye!